Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I'm your host, BMR. Joined in Studio B, the lovely Krista from the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Great show for you today. Patrick Mccray joins us. We got a lot to talk about here today, from Sasquatch, the ETs, the paranormal, and even a little Dogman we're throwing here. If this is your first time here, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, and hit the alert bell. And please share us out. You can find us on YouTube at Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Also, don't forget Texas Front Porch, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Jason McLean questions everything, and our good buddy Bob Van Buren Variety. We're also on Odyssey Radio, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, wherever podcasts are found. You can also find us on KPNL Radio. Thank you to the lovely Ann Selene out in Oregon for that one. Don't forget to subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. If you like our content and want to help support the channel, the Super Chat is open. Yes, the Super Chat is open. Thank you for that in advance. Check out our About pages for all upcoming and scheduled events. With that being said, I'm going to go over our schedule throughout the week. Thanks for everybody for tuning on in. Mondays is Texas Front Porch at 9 o'clock in the East. Tuesdays is Van Buren Variety, 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR, 9 o'clock in the East. Jason McLean does something called Mysterious Library on Untold Radio, AM. Check out Jason 10 on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, The Diva Dimension with Danielle Diva. You can find her on Texas Front Porch. She had a great show last night. Go check her out. Thursday is right back here with Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob at 1 o'clock in the East. Tonight, the Blondes, the Booze, the Paranormal Podcast. Find them on their channel tonight at 9 in the East. And if you need a little more woo with the booze, we got the Blondes, the Booze, and the Woo on Friday at 9 in the East. Don't forget Saturday, Infamous Minds, True Crime with Tex and Danielle Diva. That's at 3 o'clock in the East across the board. And with that being said, I'm going to bring up the lovely Krista.
Hey.
Hello, Krista. I'm doing pretty good. How's it going?
It's going good. It's a good day.
Yeah, we finally got this. We've got a great guest. Patrick Mccray will be joining us here shortly. We had some audio and technical issues we had to sort out, but we got it sorted out, I do believe. I can't wait for the show. We're going to unpack a lot of different things, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah. I'll let Pat talk for himself, but he's got a lot of encounters with not only Sasquatch, but some paranormal, ETs, some Dogman. So he's got a lot. He's also sent me some cool pictures we'll go over, and we'll bring them up in just a second. Awesome. And tonight, what do you guys got going on tonight before we get rolling, Krista?
We have Tom Cardos tonight.
Ah, excellent.
Be a good show. We're going to talk some Bigfoot.
That should be a great show. Shout out to Raymond, Scott, Midwest, Shiro, JoJo. Yeah, they're coming in. Stephen Finnegan, War Criminal, BMR, Krista, Gary Spikes Sr. Hi, Mr. Spikes, and the rest of you as I go through as you're funneling on in. So,
yeah,
I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to bring up Patrick Mccray.
Hello.
Hey. Sounding great. We finally got it worked out.
Yeah, it's the phone. I don't know what's going on with the phone. I really don't.
You know,
that's the second podcast in a row it's done that. So
really, yeah, it's something with the phone. I guess you're working off the tablet, but we got it straightened out. So you sound good, you look good. Thanks for joining us here today on Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I met Robin several years ago, via the internet, and we've just had a lot of talks. She's been on my show. She's helped me with some issues that I've had with the good old Sasquatch. And I'll be honest, I didn't think she was married or anything. And then I seen you a couple months ago. I think you might have been on Duke's show, and then I seen you on some other ones. Says, oh, Patrick does have a Patrick. Robin does have a husband, so I'm sure. Then I saw you on Pork and Beans yesterday, and I said, I got to give this guy a quick call.
They just asked me to come on,
Yeah, but they have a great show over there. They're kind of random. And I notice they always pull people out from
Oh
Facebook.
yeah.
And
You'll
I
be on
seen
the show and there'll be like 6 people, other people on there. You had no idea they're coming on.
yeah, no, I like those guys, Brian and the other gentleman. I was on their show. What was his name? His name slips
Mike.
me. Mike. Yeah, great guys.
Yeah.
Everybody go check out Pork and Beans. I love those guys. And I had Brian on last month. Was a great show. But again, thanks for coming on. And before we get started, I guess, a lot of people were saying, well, I never heard of Patrick Mccray. And while you were
Nobody
fiddling around,
really has.
yeah, I said, well, hey, it's Robin Mccray's husband. Everyone's like, oh, cool. Gonna be a great show. So no pressure, Pat. I almost called you Robin because I'm looking, the name
I
says
know.
Robin.
I don't know why it has it on there.
A Freudian slip, I guess, if I call you Robin, just I'm looking at it. But we know that you're a dude, So before
guys.
yeah, there you go. Tell Robin hi for me. I'm sure she's in the background laughing.
Yeah, I said say hello.
So I guess what I'd like to do then, since a lot of people are wondering what Patrick's all about, why don't you take us to the beginning here and what brought you outside of Robin, what you've gone through. I got some pictures I'll bring up later you sent me. So why don't you give us the basics about how you got started in this crazy world?
Well, when I was like in high school and stuff, I've always was interested in mysteries and Bigfoot and stuff like that. Flying saucers. I go to the library and I just at lunchtime or whatever, I'd just go in there and look at books. But I was on Facebook and there was a guy that I knew on Facebook that would investigate, Bigfoot sightings. So I talked to him every once in a while, and he went to this place in Leesburg, Indiana, and this woman said she had some issues up there, and she told him, he said she saw a gorilla. So I called her. I said, well, hey, do you mind if I come up there, every once in a while? And I think it was every other weekend. I went up there every chance I got because every time I went up there, something happened. But the first time, we went up there and it's like the first trip. Okay, I went up and I got one of the pictures from the first trip. I sent you that, but okay. There's something in the bush. Okay. But I went out with my brother, and believe it or not, he said that he saw a face in a tree. I believe him, and there probably was a cloaked Bigfoot in the tree. That's how they cloak. They can mold themselves into bushes, trees, and everything, and look like a tree. But that I had a wood knock. They were wood knocking when I was there. Go figure. So we left that, and then I went back again. The second trip I went back was we drive up, and it's a gated piece of land. So she had a key, and you had to open the gate, drive the car in, then you're in. So as we drove in, and I wasn't expecting this at all. And up in the woods, I saw a huge black cloud moving up on top. And I told her, I said, "Do you see that?" And she saw it too, but her husband was an absolute complete skeptic. He saw nothing. He didn't believe in any of it. He thought it was all hogwash. So we went out in the woods and investigated. We didn't really see anything, So this, I think it's like a third or fourth trip or whatever. And when you go in, you kind of go up a incline. And then I had a gifting log. I would put bags of food and stuff in the log on. Get blanked out. Okay, there we go. They would come and get the food. and they came and got the food. You could tell because the whole thing was gone. If an animal took it, it'd be in shreds. So there was a circular path and went all the way around, and it came back to where you entered. So I went in by myself and I was walking around, and then right when I got to the entrance where I began, this huge black hole developed. It was just there. It was like huge. And it was to the right of me. And it was following me. I said, what the freaking heck is this? I'm like scooting along, you know, trying to get out of it. And all of a sudden, and I don't know if I saw this in my mind or I physically saw it. I mean, so something shot ahead out of it, ahead on the road or trail ahead. And it appeared, and it was like pear-shaped and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the minute it appeared, boom, it was gone.
Wow. And was that on the side of the road? It would have popped out, you said? I'm sorry.
No. This is inside. Okay, you got to understand that you could drive a truck up there. The trail that I was on, you could drive a car or whatever through the place, but it's locked up, so she don't have anybody come up there. But you can drive a car up there, and it appeared on that trail or road right there. And as quick as it appeared, it was gone. I saw the shape and stuff like that. Hey, subsequent, every time I go up there, Rob, there'd be something happen. We went up there one time, there were drums beating the whole time we were there. I asked her, I said, is there like a Indian tribe around here, or high school band or something playing drums? And said no. I mean, it's there the whole time. It's just drums beating. I'm sitting there, what the heck is this? We're leaving one day and Bigfoot yelled out, and we heard that. I came up another time, and there's these woods that they're in the, I don't remember if it's on the side or they're on the side, and I saw almost like a statuette, and it's really where it's completely black, and just picture a mannequin with no arms, just a head, totally black, and it had crystals and like diamonds or something in it, and it was there. And I told them, I said, my God, what the heck was that? They didn't see it, I did. And my thing is, I think it was a really dark place, but you picture black being not that good and colors being, well, that's better, But there was this one time, I went up the trail. There's a trail. This is when you're leaving, then you can walk over to your left. There's a trail that goes up to a washout. So I went up there and I saw him. I'm pretty sure it was a little Bigfoot. And just as I'm watching you two, but you're totally blacked out. Mm-hmm. I don't see any features whatsoever. There's just a dark black figure. And that's how I saw him. Now, my thing is the little Bigfoots, they don't have the cloaking skills down 100%. I believe that sincerely. I've seen it time and time again. And he was blacked out, and I watched him. I was looking down, and I'm seeing him move and walking. And I didn't follow him because I didn't want to get Mama upset. And then he walked down into the washout. I saw him walk away and he's gone.
Wow.
I contacted the guy that was, hooked me up with the lady, and he hooked me up with Robin. Robin she blew my mind. It's like, okay, there's portals, ETs, Bigfoot, Dogman. I mean, you name it. And it's like, I believed in science fiction. I did. But this was like total reality. I'm sitting there, what the hell are you talking about? I said, are you kidding me? And that's exactly how I was. And to tell you from what I am now, and if I would have told myself, or somebody would have told me earlier, that I was going to be in the position I am now, I would have laughed and laughed.
Right.
And I said, you're crazy. And I didn't ask for this. I didn't. Well, I asked for my marriage, my wife. I love her. But
I'm glad you threw that in.
The Bigfoot, and I would like to add that none of this, and I've told her this when we first, hooked up and we got married and stuff. I didn't marry my wife for the Bigfoot. I didn't. And I married her because I love her.
Yeah.
And that's basically, I'm just getting that across. We lived up in Michigan for a while. They would come by the window, and I call it, like, when you're half in between sleep and awake, I call that a zone.
Yeah.
I was in my zone, and basically they would come to the window. There's an open window, and they would say, hi, Pat. I heard them.
Okay.
I don't know if that's safer for them.
Hey, let me ask you really quickly. When they said, hi, Pat, was it telepathy or was it a voice that you heard from the window?
I was asleep. It was them. That's the whole thing. I tried to talk to them on, somebody was on yesterday on the Pork and Bean show. Now,
Yeah.
I've got a thing where I was at a friend's house the other day, and I was bringing her lawnmower to her. I had to pick it up and stuff like that. And Rob and Krista, I saw something just like I described the Bigfoot, totally blacked out. I saw him. He walked across and went behind the truck. I saw it. Now, my thing is, did I see that in my mind, my third eye, or did I see that physically? You know what I'm saying? I'm still on the fence about that, but I did see it. And I see stuff like this all the time. I mean, I was like in Michigan, and I was coming off a ramp home from work, and I saw a huge doorway, a gateway. Okay, it was gold and bronze and had feathered doors. Incredible. Just like I saw on the trail, it was there and gone. Kind of weird, but true. And, well, I've always had, like, even before any of this stuff happened, I've always had, like, psychic stuff. Like, I'd be watching a football game. My brother was there, and it was a Notre Dame football game. So before the play even began, I saw it in my mind. And I go, Ned Bolcar, I still remember him, intercept that pass. He's going to run that in for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then, boom, it happened. Brother goes, how in the hell did you know that? I said, I saw it before it happened. And, I'll go into a Walmart and I'll know somebody from work is there. I said, somebody from work? It's just like an overpowering urge. I know it. There's someone here from work. And it's just like, you just keep on going. And then you can, I looked at some guy at Walmart. It's just a flash look. And I saw his life in my mind. It's incredible. And, from all this, Robin helped me with, telepathy and the mind speak stuff. But we were looking at a book one time. And she looked at it and she goes, she heard some screams. She says, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Yeah, it's like people screaming." And what it was is there's a fire in that particular building that was in the picture in the book. Now, before I even got into this stuff, I had this distinct notion, and it just would not leave. I said, there is energy in those pictures. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some way of accessing that. That is really odd, because I believe that now, and I can do it. But back then, I haven't met Bigfoot yet or done anything, but I started to realize that there was energy in a picture. I mean, I was at the Nebraska conference. Okay, check this out. So I had talked to the Bigfoot before in that picture, and I look at it, you focus on it, you start talking. That's how telepathy is. You basically, if I want to talk to Bigfoot in Indiana and I talk to you, just call out their name and it's seconds. That's how long it takes. It doesn't take 45 minutes to an hour of meditation. It's just not going to happen.
So it's just like talking like we are right now, but you hear it inside your mind, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And it's directional. I mean, if they don't want to talk to you, they won't. I mean, some days I don't hear anything, and some days I'll be driving. My gosh, I mean, it just will not stop, and you can remote view them as they're walking and stuff like that. That's what I see. I mean, basically, if I call their name and I'll see them sitting, or they're doing something, or
Let me ask you really quickly, when you're seeing them, are you seeing pixelated images? Are you seeing actual vivid images or shadows? When you're
I'm seeing them in my mind. Like, a lot of times when I first started doing it, I would almost be on their shoulder or something like that. And I'd see them walking and stuff like that. And you focus on the picture, and for example, you guys know Gaia, right? The show Gaia. There's a movie on. It was called, I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, movie. This guy had a high gain camera system. And he focused it on outer space, deep outer space, and he caught these motherships that are out there. He took pictures of them. So I'm watching. I put one of them on pause, the picture. I said, well, if I can access pictures, well, geez, I can access that. So I focus on it. And I can see in my mind, I'm going through stars. I'm traveling, really. Man. And I go and I get to the ship. And there's a guy with a beard and an ET. And you always know when you connect. You just do. I mean, it's a given. You just know. So I connected to him. I didn't talk to him or anything, but I knew I had a connection. So it's just... This stuff is just almost beyond belief, but the telepathy is limitless as far as I'm concerned. If you want to talk, you're connected to the entire universe, and basically you can communicate with just about anything. But you got to be careful because there's good and bad in everything.
Yeah,
And
I
a
do
lot of
agree
this
with
stuff, if you can't feel what it is, and Bigfoot told me, and I asked him, I said, well, how do you know? How do I know it's you? And he said, you have to feel. You have to feel me. And what that is feeling their energy. And that's what you do. And you do it automatically after a while. You know you're talking to, that Bigfoot or, somebody that you're talking to.
right. I can see where you and Robin hooked up and got married. Congratulations on that. But I got to ask you, and I love Robin, and what you're telling me is there's so much to unpack. I know Chris has got full of questions. I got to ask you, where do you think because this is an innate ability, right? For a lot of people. A lot of people just can't do the things you've done and what Robin's done and others. Did you sense something prior to any experiences that you were a little different or could pick up on things as a young child growing up?
In my attic, I'd get, I don't know where they came from. I'd get these pictures in my mind, bloody stuff. I don't know what it was. It was horrifying. And I didn't want to think about it. And then I would have this ringing in my ears when I was a kid. I would do this to my ears, and I said, I wanted to have it stop. I have ringing in my ears all the time. I hear frequencies up and down sometimes, and that is a vibrational thing. So there's obviously, I don't see it, but there's something around. And when something's vibrating like that, you're gonna feel that frequency or vibration that near you.
And it's funny. Ever since I got involved in this field, when you talk, I've never knew about vibrational patterns or frequencies outside of maybe electronics. And it's funny to me that a lot of us have these abilities and it's never untapped until you actually come on or have a profound experience like I had, and now certainly what you have had. I mean, that's an eye opener.
Well,
I mean, to
well,
me.
Well, yeah. I mean, like right today and stuff, the stuff that, I would go out. I've worked at, FedEx. I've worked at Lowe's delivering appliances. I see stuff all the time. I was coming down. I was with FedEx. Okay, I'm coming up to a house, and you can see the house from the road. It's like one of those, you're on a hill, and there it is. And you're driving up, and then I see something. It's a line, Rob and Krista.
Mm-hmm.
A line, and all of a sudden the line comes down, and then you see who is there. Boom. And the line goes all the way down to the ground, and whoever it is, they've appeared. And then they're gone. They cloak immediately. Once they hit the surface of the ground, they cloak. I've seen it with Bigfoot. I was in South Bend, Indiana. It's at someone's house, and boom, the same thing. Ooh, and then they were there. And the quicker they got there, the quicker they left. You didn't see it after that because what they do is they cloak. Everything in this world, in my opinion, UFOs, I saw a UFO above my garage, it cloaked. I saw it, and it knew I was looking at it, and it cloaked. It just like phased out. And the same thing with the Bigfoot in Michigan. I was watching him. We connected eye-wise. We were both looking at each other. He knew I was looking at him. And then he was like, just totally disappeared. It's like gone. It's incredible. And that is a cloak. The cloak is 100%. But like I said, the little guys, I think they learn this stuff. I was going to work one day, here, and I saw a little guy on the road, and he was kind of like predator type, like this kind of had color to him for his fur and stuff like that from the cloak. And he put his hands up to shield from the headlights, and he finally got his cloak down and he disappeared. And there's another time I used to work for a food truck. I'm just telling you some instances. And the Bigfoot was on top of the food truck. So I'm going around the corner, and then I look over here. I turn this way. He jumps off the truck. He's got these big, long, gangly arms, and then he's like tannish brown, and immediately he cloaks. I mean, it's just wow. And this is the normal stuff that we deal with every day. And then there's more than that. I mean, we live in a paranormal hotspot. We've got, Robin had like a FLIR camera. She took a picture of a ghost. She had a bun on her head, the puffy sleeves, and you could see her face. She wasn't in front of Robin. She took the picture. Incredible. I mean, I've got pictures I sent Rob,
Yeah, you have some pictures. Krista, before I bring up some of the pictures, Krista, I know you're sitting there quiet, taking all this in. You got anything to add? And I'm going to jump into some of these pictures. Now, the pictures are entitled, Patrick, so I don't know what they are.
I can tell you what it is.
And Krista, before I do that, I know you're sitting there patiently wanting to say something. So why don't you go for it?
Okay. So my question is, I've done a lot of metaphysics stuff over the years. And when we, in paranormal, I've done it for many years. And there are tricksters out there. How do you know that it's like a demonic type entity, that it really is a Bigfoot that you're speaking to?
No, but I will tell you, though, that when I was riding in the car with that lady, I think she was into a lot of this dark magic and stuff. And that's kind of why I think up in the woods it was like that. But something jumped off onto her, and I felt what it was. And Krista and Rob, it was complete, utter chaos through your mind. And it was just, I don't even want to feel something like that. So I'm at a restaurant, and it shoots off this other guy that's in the restaurant. And he had whatever it was as well. And you will absolutely know when you're dealing with something that's dark and evil. You will. There's no utter way to describe it, but you will know, because what I felt there was just absolute chaos, just unbelievable evil.
Right. Yeah, I don't knock you. I've just never experienced communicating with the Bigfoot like that. I find that.
Well, I talked to a young one, and I was kind of frustrated at the time. And when I talked to, his name was Blackie, I told him, I said, well, hey, back then I was like, how do I know it's you? You kind of want to know. And he goes, well, you got to do it by feel. And I was talking to the young one his name's Noel, and it's Brownie's son. And he got me, and basically, I knew it was him. He goes, see, you're doing it. And he says, and as I told you before, it's like second nature. You will know. You know who you talk to. But if it's somebody else, there'll be something that kind of throws it off. But like I said, if it's a complete evil, you'll know beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Okay. Thank you for answering.
Yeah, I would think, and Chris, I guess if you can feel evil, Chris, I've had experiences with
indescribable.
It is.
Well, whenever I've taught metaphysics in the past, and when I teach students, I have them, they have to, a lot of times people, with abilities, they have a bunch of them wanting to come in at the same time. So I've taught them, you know, you let one in at a time, and then you say, "Are you of the light?" And you get an immediate response. You know.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with that is the stuff that's out there that doesn't have any good intentions to you.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say yes anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that you get out here when basically you're in telepathy. You get a mixture of everything. And to go ahead and put yourself out there, telepathy wise, out in this earth and stuff, the universe, you're putting yourself at risk.
Yep.
Just
Gotcha.
point blank.
Gotcha.
You know, I want to move on to a couple of these pictures before we get started, but I had to bring up something really point because Krista says she thinks I have some skills or some abilities, and I guess I kind of do. But when you talk about this evil factor, when I was a little kid, some people have heard this, but I like your take on it right quick. When I was a little kid, I saw ghosts as a little kid and things of that nature that I know were ghosts. Me and my brother probably saw Bigfoot. Now I know it was when we were up north as little kids. I didn't put two and two together until I met your wife, actually, Robin. And then she brought something out of me when I was like 10 or 11. But I was telling Krista, as far as evil goes, I sense as a kid, Krista knows where I'm going with this. I met this kid about 8 or 9 years old, and we were playing, and he was a neighbor in the neighborhood. And as a young boy, I thought this kid, I don't know what the feeling I got from this kid. We were wrestling around on the front lawn. And you know, as we're obviously touching and screwing around. And then I kind of broke away from this kid because I felt something was like not right. And I ran to my house and told my mom and dad to get rid of this kid, Billy, right? I sensed there was something wrong. My mom and dad, he probably was just beating you wrestling. You know, you don't like him now. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't know. So grade school, now we're in about 8th or 9th grade. Billy didn't like the kid. And gym class, he was in my gym class. I told my friends, Billy's something not right. High school, Billy, again, playing football on the football team. I said, I don't like this guy. And I've never liked this kid from 8 years old now is 18. I said, as an 18-year-old young man, I said, I think he's evil. I don't know what it is. I go off to college. I get off to college. I get back home, and little Billy was in prison because little Billy, who, by the way, dropped out of high school, murdered his grandmother. And I sensed that this kid was evil from like 8 years old all the way through my life because he's a neighborhood kid. I went to grade school, high school, junior high, and high school with him. Never liked him. I even told my friends. And I'm not a guy just to say, don't hang out with someone. Do what you want. But I had a sense that there was something going on. And I always felt that. And when I got home from college, my mom and dad told me about Billy. I was telling, and my mom and dad even said, you know, you never liked that kid since the day you met him. I said, yep. So
this good feeling,
you know, had that feeling, and I can do that at a mobile gas station. I can sum up people in 2 minutes if they're good or bad, their intentions. But enough of me. But I think that I wanted to bring that out because it resonates with what you were saying about just having that feeling. Sure. So I'm going to bring up, we got a bunch of pictures. We got 8 minutes before break, a little longer. So I liked Patrick. You got so much good stuff you're providing. Thank you so much, Patrick Mccray. Awesome show. Thanks for everybody tuning in. If not, you have to watch the replay here. It's a great story in the beginning. But however, we got some pictures here. And again, they're out of order. Don't know where they're at. Some might
let you know what it is.
Up a couple. What we got here?
Okay, background on this. That's a Dogman. Okay, so it's like getting dusk out. When I go, I can sit on my porch, but this time I walked up closer. But just a little background on the picture taking. I'll sit on the porch and I'll take pictures. And for example, this, there was nothing there. And just like all the other pictures I take, but when I take a picture, I'll coordinate it with that area on the picture. Of course, there'll be nothing there. But I think the reason I got this picture, it was getting dark out. He didn't think I would see him. But maybe he wanted me to see him. Says yes. and I snapped it, and there he is.
Wow. Okay. And I can see, is that in the front? I'm just looking at this. I kind of see a head and I see like 3 big fingers. Is that a hand or is that something else?
No, that's part of the tree. He just
Okay.
basically peeked. And then if you can look behind,
Okay.
there are others behind him.
I think I see him now. I see some faces there. I'm going to move on to this one here.
Okay, that's up in that area I just talked about in Leesburg. I mean, it's shaped like a Bigfoot. Now, if you look at the tree, you can see his shadow on that tree. Do you see it?
Down the lower left?
Yeah. You can see the shadow on his tree. What it is with them is when they cloak, and I had a Bigfoot at my window here in South Carolina, I saw right through him. He was looking he was right at the window. I saw him. He's moving his eyes back and forth, looking for me or someone in the house, and I could see right through him. And that's basically what that is.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I got like 12 of these, so I'm not going to do them all now. I'll wait for the second half, but I will pull up a few others. And here's, I see a big shadow. See, I have 2 pictures of this. One, I don't know where the other one is, but I'm sorry. Go ahead. This is.
Well, you'll see it, but when you see the other one, you'll understand how big he is. But
yeah.
Anyway, so Robin was out on a show. I can't remember the show. And she told me, she says, boy, there's just a lot of activity out there. So I went out, and before I went out, I have a special night feature on my phone. So I got the camera up. I switched to the night feature on the phone, went out, clicked two shots. And that's probably one of the Class A ones I got. I mean, he's got to be 12, 13 feet high.
Yeah, he looks pretty. I'm not going to try to search the other one, but we'll find that later. But yeah, I seen that. I said that looks like a giant. But then I know what the other picture is, and it's actually.
You'll see. It's on there.
Idea. And this I see like an eye and a teeth here. This is pretty distinctive.
Well, you can see all 4 limbs and stuff in his body. But my Great Pyrenees, she was out at the fence, and she looked like she was looking up at something, but of course there was nothing there. But what they can do is do a directional thing where she could see them, but I won't see them. And that's probably what they did. Or she can sense them there. But I went out and I said, well, hey, I think there might be something there. I snapped a picture, and sure enough. Okay, I think Robin took that. That's out front.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a huge face.
Yeah, I see it.
Coming out of a portal, I think.
Now, for me personally, to me, it looks like a Dogman. That's just my.
It is. It's a Dogman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I can really see that pretty good.
Yeah, you can see his ear up there. And
I got to say, I don't normally give out compliments just because someone's on the show, but I do definitely, when it comes to pictures, you really got to look, but I can tell that's definitely something there.
Usually we can tell, got a little app on the phone, a little photo editor, and I can zoom in like 4,000% on my screen on my phone with it.
I'm going to show one more, and I'll save the rest for the second half because I have another question before we move on. But I'm going to go with whatever this is. This is pretty cool.
Okay, that's Muwaka. Okay, so I'm at the table, and that's the front yard, and she appears like I look out, and I physically, I don't know if she's in shadow form or whatever, but whatever. Mm-hmm. The only reason I say it's her because she said it was her. And basically what I saw, like on the picture, and what I saw physically are 2 different stories. I mean,
yeah,
I'm looking at it physically, and I'm kind of disbelieving what I'm looking at. Yeah. And it's like, it's hard to describe. It's just very hard to describe.
a lot of times, even I'll even go through the woods or I'll go through the creek by my house and I'll take random pictures, just random. In fact, Robin told me one of the best ways she captures stuff is she'll sit in the yard and she'll take her phone, but she won't zoom in. She will just like take the
Just
hand
take
and
it.
she'll kind of go do one of these motions and just hit the shutter and just keep firing. And
Yeah.
and you can pick up some things. And a
Mhm.
lot of things I've done that. I can't say I've seen anything doing it myself, but you always have to. I always guard against. Well, is that or is it not? Because I can tell pareidolia, and I'll never. Unless I won't show a picture unless I know. Again, you're never gonna know for a fact, are you? Because you just never know. At least that's my thought process. And but I've done that. I'm like, man, is this something or not? So I'll go back to the spot and look, and I'll take the picture again. And again, now it's a totally different image, right? So something maybe was there or not.
Right.
But so that's why I like going through them. I got to ask you because I do want to keep on the Sasquatch and Dogman subject. However, since we got 5 minutes, we have to go to break.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me about? Because again, you told me you've had all these paranormal and extraterrestrial
Yeah.
encounters. Let's talk. Give me one quick. I know you got a lot of them. What about one quick for the audience? Something on an ET that you thought was not a Bigfoot or a Dogman or a cryptid, but an ET, or it could be a UFO or it could be an alien.
Well, I came home at midnight one night, and I've never seen a UFO, but I came home and it's like I'm walking up to the house and I look up and I call it the sports model. And this thing, I'm telling you, there were no rivets whatsoever, no seams, unbelievable. Gold and bronze, totally white on the bottom with a black inner ring. And like I was telling earlier, it saw me, it knew I was looking at it, and then it closed.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No,
But-
Chris was just going, whoa.
Yeah.
Now, I just watched a video. This is the guy from Canada, defense minister, and stating that basically all the ETs and stuff, they have a time agreement with the governments up here to basically do a reveal. And in the video, our cronies are saying that, oh my God, they won't be able to handle it and all this. Of course we can handle it. But what they're doing, and then this is a message directly from the ETs, is basically they're wondering why a lot of this free energy stuff, hasn't been revealed to the world. None of it has. They're holding on to it. And they're the ones, they're being selfish. And they keep on, and then even the ET says a lot of people have been hurt and killed to not reveal the secret. And just incredible what's going on with, this disclosure. A lot of it's the soft disclosures going through the movies, Star Trek shows, stuff like that. And that's how they're doing it.
So, according to this, then you're saying that some Bigfoots have been killed off, not to what?
No, I'm talking about humans, to not reveal the secret. Now, I will say that basically, telepathy-wise, there have been Bigfoots that have been held in the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, and they've contacted us. And what they do with them, they torture them, they electrocute them, and they do cross-breeding experiments with other, creatures or whatever. And this is our government.
Wow. Well, I know I had my first UFO encounter on Saturday night, and it was not what I had, excuse me, what I had pictured it would be. It looked like stars to me, but they were communicating with us with the laser. So, and I believe, well, we believe that we saw a mothership, and we actually watched like 4 or 5 others come out of it. So, but it looked like a star. So definitely wasn't how I pictured a UFO to be. It was cool.
So we are out. My son-in-law and daughter, they would have like a fire out front. They'd have like they bought a little fire pit. Well, maybe about a year and a half ago, we'd be out there, and we noticed off in the distance there were ships, and we knew there were ET ships. You could see them. Okay. And then I told my wife, she said, I'm going to bring the flashlight out. I'm going to flash it. She goes, you do not do that. And I did it anyway. And so I flashed it, and you could see them. They flashed their light back at you. Mm-hmm. And then they rocked their wings like this, their ship, to signify that they did see me and they know we were there. So now I know that we've been told by an ET that we have a beacon.
Oh, I think he froze up.
Oh. Well, we're at the 52-minute mark. Hey, Robin, Patrick, you froze up in the nick of time because we're coming across. We have to take our 5-minute break. Okay. Before we do that, we'll get back. Gosh, I could have you on for 5 hours, man. There's so much that's running through my head right now. Before I go to the 5-minute break, thanks to Chiro and Gerald from Midwest for their awesome super chat. Thank you to Rocky twice, 250s from Rocky. Rocky, you do rock. And thanks to Anthony from S4. Thank you for the super chat. It's a great way to help support what we do around here, and it is appreciated by all of us. Thank you ever so much. It's awesome. And we do have to take the 5-minute break for our sponsors, Mr. Patrick Joseph Mccray. You all know Robin. Well, this is the hubby, and you can tell why they're married. They're awesome. We'll be back in 5.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome back to the show. We have a great show with Patrick Mccray. We are just talking about everything. Everything on this show is being unpacked. Once again, thanks to Chiro and Gerald from Midwest Night Watchers. Subscribe to them for your super chat. Rocky ×2, one of my moderators, a great person. Thank you, Rocky. Anthony, identified S4, thanks for the super chat. Go subscribe to Anthony's show, Unidentified S4 on YouTube. He talks about UFOs. He talks about Bigfoot. He's been on some Bigfoot expeditions himself, so he's got a nice variety of things to offer everybody. Much like we do across the board here on Mondays, it's Texas Front Porch. You can find Tex at 9 in the East. Now, again, we only stream on our show, so Texas Front Porch is on Texas Front Porch for his shows, 9 in the East on Monday. Tuesday, Van Buren Variety, 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR, that's me, of course, 9 o'clock in the East on Tuesdays. Jason McLean does something called Untold Radio AM, excuse me. That's, of course, 10 o'clock on Wednesdays. And Jason McLean does have Jason McLean Questions Everything. He's doing video format videos. Check out Jason and subscribe. Thursdays, right back here with Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. We do come on at 1 o'clock in the East. The Blondes, the Booze, the Paranormal Podcast, subscribe. You can only find them there. They're at 9 in the East on Thursdays, and they're also on Fridays at 9 in the East with the Blondes, the Booze, and the Woo. They mix up, throw a little woo into their Friday night show. And, of course, on Saturdays, it is Texas Front Porch, Infamous Minds. That's 3 o'clock in the East. Fantastic if you're into true crime. And I got to give a shout out to my buddy Jessica, the Cryptid Huntress, Spaced Out Radio. 10 in the East, Saturday and Sunday. Check her out as well. Thanks once again for everybody that's tuning in or tuning on later. Fantastic show. I'm going to bring up Krista and my guest, Mr. Patrick. Welcome back.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for joining once again, taking time out of your schedule, Patrick. You got so much.
No problem.
You know, I still got a handful of photos to go through, and I think at the end, before you kind of blipped out just for a couple seconds, I didn't catch the last part. I don't know what was that briefly. Then we can continue on. If you don't remember, we can just move on.
No, I don't.
Let me ask you this: do you think there's a correlation then? Okay, now you've got Sasquatch Experiences, Dogman, Paranormal, and ETs, UFOs. I always ask my guests this question: do you think everything is related? Is it all on the same plane, same multiverse, or what's your theory behind all this?
I think that there are Bigfoot on UFOs. I really do. There are, it's multidimensional. I mean, you have things coming in from other dimensions. And what's happening in the world, Rob, is, and I don't know if you guys have noticed from how basically from back in the 50s or 30s, and just how kind of bad it's gotten. I mean, you've got, really, think about it. And I'm on a job, okay? And I'm driving back from Fort Wayne, and there's a Bigfoot talking to me, telepathy-wise. And he's telling me what's going on in this world and what's happening. And what's happening is, Rob and Krista, the government, you know, you got CERN and stuff like that, they're talking to the wrong things. They have, and we just talked about this. They have no idea what they're doing. And so there are things that'll come and they'll say, and they'll disguise their intentions. And what happens is they come into this world and they affect everybody mentally. You know what I'm saying? And this is what's happening today. The governments of the world, and there's more than one CERN. I'm sure there's others. China's got all their little thing over there. And they're bringing in all this stuff and all these negative entities into this world. And unbeknownst to everybody, but what happens with ETs, and if you look at the Roswell interview, okay, I've listened to it. Now, when you look at how the Roswell alien, how it lived inside a doll body. And the doll body wasn't alive. It just animated it. So basically, all these ETs and stuff like that, and you could look back into the Bible, and the Bible says they're demons and stuff like that. But I'm telling you right now that there are a lot of ETs and stuff out there that need a body and a host. And this is, I think, what is happening today. I mean, it's really weird, but it's true.
Yeah, it is pretty weird and true. I do believe that. And I do also want to ask you this, too. You're talking about CERN and even scientists that we have in the field. And I think that portals open up naturally. But I also, do you think, I got to ask you this. Do you think that the portals that I'm talking about not me and you or Krista, but I'm talking about the government or any of these agencies or scientists, do you think there's a danger, like we're talking about CERN, to open up some of these realms, these portals, and we're opening up nefarious entities? We're exposing ourselves to danger?
Good question.
That's exactly what's happening. And that's what the Bigfoot explained to me. That's what's going on. They have no idea what they're doing. I mean, nothing. And they go in there and they talk to, you know, whoever they're talking to. And like I said, it's the same thing with telepathy and talking, communication through your mind. You're going to get, there's copycats, there's imitators and stuff like that. They hide their intent and stuff like that. I mean, I've had basically, you know, I'm in my zone in my dreams and stuff like that. And that's another whole kit and caboodle to talk about. But I'll explain, you know, basically I was asleep, and I believe dreams are another dimension anyway, but
Another thing we could talk hours about. Yeah.
oh yeah, and then I'm in my zone, and I'm lucid in my dream. I know what's going on, and I see the cloud, and I knew immediately what it was. It was no good. So I woke up, and then all of a sudden there's stuff in my mind, chattering and all this, and that's sometimes how they enter. Or they'll just go be in your mind and project themselves in your mind. They can't, come in any other way, so they'll project images and stuff through your mind. I basically went to Archangel Michael and asked him to help me. And you may not believe this, but it did work. I talked to him, and he got rid. I never heard from him again.
Wow.
But it's just, God is there. Anybody can talk to God. When you're out in the woods, okay, go out in the woods and they can hear you, the Bigfoot, and you just communication, you tell your intent. I'm here to do this, or have a picnic with my kids. Could you, I don't mind if you come by, just be good, or, stuff like that,
Yeah.
Sure. I have a question for you. What do you believe, have you seen orbs when you've been out, and what do you believe they are?
I haven't seen orbs, but I think they're traveling things for entities. There is actually entities in the orbs. You can see their faces, and the Bigfoots play with them. Gotcha. And they travel around in orbs too. It's a travel system.
I have witnessed orbs out at the Land Between the Lakes. That's why I was curious as what your perspective was on them.
Yeah, it's just a travel system. There's somebody in that orb.
There, I got to ask you, there is, and I've seen some pictures, but I've talked to a lot of guests that they see orbs, and a lot of them see a face in the orb. And I was talking to a guest now, maybe it was like 6 months ago, and he said that orbs are piloted by extraterrestrials, and they're here working in consort with Bigfoot, with other cryptids. You could even bring in the Fae, you can bring in fairies, you can bring in elementals, but they are actually craft from the mothership. Now, that's one theory I've heard, and there's many other theories as well. What's your take on that? Do you believe that some of these orbs, not all, could in fact be sent from UFOs? And it looks.
Can you see me? I'm here.
Okay, we lost you. Did you hear my question?
Okay, so the only thing I got for you, we had a friend that stayed with us, and he was up in the upstairs bedroom, and it faces the backyard. And he said he saw a huge UFO. I mean, he saw the whole thing. And he said he saw these orbs come out of it. Yes, I do believe that the bigger orbs and stuff like that are from UFOs. But to say that the smaller ones I think are basically travel systems for spirits and for Bigfoot and stuff like that. Don't ask me how they get in it. I have no idea.
I heard that orbs from the UFOs is ectoplasma, and that's why they can bounce around so fast. And they're actually, it's a gel or a silicone or a plasma that surrounds the orb, and that's why they can dart around the forest, if you've seen them in the forest or even in the tree line, so fast. And it's not
like a ping pong ball.
And it's impenetrable, and that's why these things can travel so fast, because the G forces from the person or the entity traveling inside the orb, they're not torn apart because of the ectoplasm that it's surrounded by.
You don't have the inertia blockers like in a UFO. You're going to be like, say the least, you know.
Right. Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm going to pull up some more of your pictures that you sent me because, you know, usually when a guest sends me, I like to try to get through them. And I know there's a story behind most of these. So I just got to remember where I left off.
So real quick,
go ahead, Chris.
How long have you been doing this?
Been like Bigfoot type thing.
All the weirdness and that kind of stuff.
Well, since about 2015.
Cool.
That's Milwaukee. And believe it, you know, this stuff, you know, when you first start out, I mean, a lot of stuff happened at my dad's place too. And, you know, that was bizarre too. But it just it gets weirder and weirder as time goes by. Like, for example, I'm asleep, okay, and I wake up and I look on the ceiling and there's hundreds of octagon shapes all over the ceiling and the walls. And Robin's seen it too. And I think the only thing that we can ascertain is that it's possibly a force shield.
Wow.
I mean, these are some of the weird things, you know, like, for example, Robin bought some pens one day, bought over at the store. Immediately they were gone. Wow. Okay, so I'm like walking in the same spot, maybe about 10 or 15 times going in and out of the house and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, there are the pens. I told her, I said, we found the pens, you know. Mm-hmm. And here's another one. It's this, we had this key fob. I had it in my pocket. It totally disappeared. Wow. A friend of ours comes over and we're talking about it. I said, hey, you know, we had this key fob and, you know, this and that. And then he bends down, reaches in the couch, and there's the key fob that we searched the couch numerous times for, and we couldn't find.
Wow.
This stuff like that, it just happens like this stuff all the time in the house. We're in a paranormal zone. It's got to be.
Sounds like
I mean, it's a normal thing, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, well, normal to us for sure, but others maybe. Did we see this picture?
Yes.
Yeah, we saw it.
Okay, so this I
and I told you. Remember, I told you there was something in the bush.
Yeah, I see.
You see his eyes and his nose and his brow ridge, right at the top there.
Yes.
Well, that's when I first went to Leesburg, Indiana, that area. I just snapped a picture. I didn't know he was there until months later. Somebody says, you know, there's something in their picture. I said, holy Toledo. And that was my first time going to those woods.
Wow.
Wow, yeah. Because I can see distinct eye socket, brow.
Yeah, there's brow ridge, everything. Nose. Oh. Okay, there's a story about this. Okay, so I'm at my house. I'm talking to Robin on the phone. Okay. And I think you can see the footprints out to the car. I just went out to the car and then I came back in. Okay. And then I'm running the vacuum cleaner. This is like not even a couple minutes. Okay. And then something, I don't know why I opened the door. I opened the door and there's a Christmas tree there. And
so that was put there.
It was put there. There's no, Rob and Krista, there's no footprints around there whatsoever. It's almost like they were in air and they dropped it. That's from the Bigfoot.
Wow, that's crazy.
Interesting. Yeah. That's a pretty cool story there.
Yeah.
Looks like a handprint.
That's on my work shorts in the bathroom. It's a handprint.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure where the white powder comes from. I just don't know. We're kind of on the fence whether their hands produce it or it's oil. I don't know. It stays on there for quite a long time.
You know, our buddy Tex, he did a show some time back, and he had similar prints, handprints on his truck. Now he had some nice smears from oils from a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But he also had similar. If you remember, Krista, he had a lot of some prints on his car that had left that powdery material, and you could see distinct fingers. So this is something that they do emit, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, I took this picture, Rob and Krista. I have no idea what it is. It looks like a dinosaur, doesn't it?
Well,
It looks like a stegosaurus.
I personally don't see anything, so I'm trying to process where to look here.
Okay, if you look, okay, it's curved. If you look at the top of the curves, you can see fins.
I see where it looks like the back of a dinosaur. I do see that.
Yeah, it just, the only reason I sent this is it's all part of the weirdness up here.
Yeah, no, I got you. That's cool. Glad you did. I mean, you know, they're okay. Well, again, fins. I'm having tough myself personally, and I don't doubt nothing. I just can't pull nothing out. But here's something. Oh, now this is cool. I remember now this.
That's next to my bed.
Yeah, now that's inside your house now.
Yeah, there's a pillow that was on top of a chair, my Star Wars pillow. I had just put it on the chair, and then they went ahead and they did their handprint on the pillow.
See, I tell you what, I would freak out if something like that was inside my house on my pillow.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't freak out. I came home and Robin didn't see it. And I go, what's with the handprint on the pillow? She goes, what are you talking about? And there it was. I'm sitting there, holy Toledo. You know, Igor was just so excited about the handprint.
That's what's his name? Burkatsev from Russia, correct?
Igor Borstev. Yeah. He's been in our house every once in a while.
What's interesting about this is how the thumb is referring to some of the prints that Tex showed me, exact same positioning. If you remember, Krista, the thumb so far away, and you can see some dermal ridges towards like the bottom of the palm. So that's for sure. And even the crease in the mid area.
I've got a theory. Now, if you look at the first picture, the picture of the 12, 13 footer, I think a lot of the things that are happening is, if you figure the youngsters are maybe about 5-6 feet tall, they're the ones that are coming in the house. Okay, the adults will never fit in the house. I mean, they're 12 feet tall and we got 8 foot tall ceilings. They'll tear the whole house apart.
Yep.
And they send the youngsters in the houses. That's my opinion. It makes sense.
There is a question, real quick. War Criminal 7. He asked, what's the measurements on those handprints?
You know, and the thing is when you put your hand to that, it's a little bigger than our hands. And that's why I say these are from juvenile Bigfoots.
Well, I'm glad that
an adult. The adult's hands would be probably twice or 2.5 times that size.
Yeah, I'm glad that question was brought up, because as I'm looking at this, it seems like the hand. And again, you make perfect sense. Nothing 12 foot's going to fit in your house. I don't care.
There's no way.
They're not going to get through your door. Even a sliding door, they'd have a problem. So when I first look at this for scale, I'm thinking, man, that's huge. Right. Now that you made mention that it's not that much bigger, a couple inches than your hand, it makes sense that perhaps it was a juvenile then. There's no way a full-grown adult will fit in.
So,
the house.
I mean, if you're in a house, a Bigfoot basically can come right through the wall. I mean, they can do it.
Yeah.
They also can astral project themselves. Maybe that's some how sometimes the big adults come in the house, they astro project themselves into the house.
Yeah. War Criminal has another question. He says, do you have any close-up pictures? You should be able to see the ridge details. Do you have any other pictures of that one? Closer?
Well,
The other one, the
well,
one in the bathroom, you can actually see hair, and
Wow.
you bring that
we're
one back.
coming up. I think I have
But
that one.
That one is that one is in scope. You can see, okay, I'm on the porch. You can see the guardrail at the bottom left.
Mm-hmm.
And the garage door is all the way over. You can't see it, and you're standing there. He's way up there. He's got to be like 12 feet tall.
Wow.
And that's the scope picture of the one that we showed earlier. He's huge.
Gotcha. Wow. Looks big. It looks huge.
Oh yeah. Okay, here's another one. This is
Okay, okay, I told you about the roads, the trails up there. You can drive. That's about how they were.
Okay.
That was in the woods up in Leesburg, Indiana. Now, like I said, every time we go there, something happened. And this is one of those times. They had put a stick in the middle of the road, and it was buried like 2.5 feet in the ground.
You know, you just mentioned a stick. I got to ask you a question. We have 2 more pictures left. I'll wait for a couple minutes on that. I got to ask you, what's your opinion? Because a lot of people, they talk about, the stick, the big X structures, stick structures, things they find.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Is this created by Bigfoot? Or is it just fallen? Communication.
It's created by them. It's a communication. What if you look now? I could go outside, take my shoes off, and I can draw energy from the earth. And this is what is basically being done with some of the structures. You have some of the plants that are in the structures that are connected to the ground, the earth. Okay. A lot of times when you reach your hand in some of these structures, there's an alternating current. You can feel it. And the structure actually draws the energy from the earth. And not all of them. I mean, there are some that are just basically there's some that there's a Bigfoot counter, kind of, a passage counter. What they'll do is, for like a family, they'll take a papa stick, be big, a mama stick, maybe half the size, and a baby stick, and they'll put it down. That is a passage pile. It'll tell them how many Bigfoot have passed that location.
Oh, wow.
You see a lot of sticks piled up. That's basically, it could be that, and I've seen pictures like that. They just pile the sticks up.
Wow. Rob, are you froze up?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's froze up. Wow. So how often do you have like encounters at home? Is it
I've never
often?
heard it.
Is it, is it every day? Is it?
The thing is it could happen anytime. Like I'm asleep one night. Well, I'll tell you this, for example, Robin and Janice are off in Tennessee, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we had this like camera outside. It was looking in toward the house, and there was something inside the room while I was asleep. They're like calling me, wake up, there's something inside your room and stuff. But I mean, I was okay.
Yeah.
And I was asleep. I was awake one night, and there was something outside the room. And you can see, if you look on the bottom, and if there's light coming in, and you're in a dark room, you could actually see somebody on the outside, and there was someone there, and they walked away. And I opened the door. Of course, there's no one there.
Mm.
I've heard Bigfoot kids in the house up one night, and they're screaming upstairs, having a good time.
Wow.
You
Do
know?
they tear anything up?
There one time we came home and they got into the pantry and they crushed the vinegar jug, and they're just going through these are probably, like I said, juveniles. The big guys are not going to come in the house. They have the kids come in.
Gotcha. I think he froze up on us, Rob.
Yeah, a little bit. We're starting to lose a little connection here. I don't know what
Hold
happened
on.
with me.
Yeah, you froze.
It's the Wi-Fi here.
Now,
I don't know,
well, we got 2 more pictures. This has been a fantastic show, man. We got 2 more we can get into here.
Now, if you look, you can't see it.
Right.
If you look at that, that is a deer, and there's something holding it up, but you can't see what it is. Who's holding it?
I believe that.
I mean, look at it. There's an ear down there, and there's a head, and something's holding that deer up. There's deer all over the place there.
Wow.
And my thing is, I think they went hunting, and they're holding the deer up, and I got a picture of it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that about the deer being held up by a Sasquatch. I did a video. I got somebody, a subscriber, I think, sent in something. I did a video on this where, with the naked eye, the guy was like 100 yards away. From his naked eye, he's seen a deer all of a sudden elevate off the ground, and in the back, he's seen a distinct silhouette of a humanoid figure. He didn't say Bigfoot, but it looked like a huge humanoid. And this deer is literally 3 or 4 feet off the ground, it's suspended. And with his naked eye, he can see the shadow of this figure. So the guy had the wherewithal. He started snapping pictures and did some video. And then, then this disappeared from his view. So he ran, found a stump. He went and he sat down. And when he looked at the picture, now you know what I'm going to say. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
But what was there? And he sent me this picture. He didn't want me to post it. The deer is suspended in the air, but there's that humanoid figure that he saw with his naked eye in the background was not there. So go figure that out. Isn't that crazy?
It's a perfect cloak. And for the life of me, they told us that they bend and refract the light, but it's much more than that. It's all about, with really anything in this world and this dimension, it's vibration and energy. That's basically all it boils down to. That is in Leesburg, Indiana. Those are Bigfoot. And what they're doing, they're in an old dried out creek bed. And when we come in, that's how they watch. And nobody can see them because they're really down low in the creek bed. But you can't see them anyway. They're cloaked. So take a picture, and somehow the picture gets by their cloak somehow.
Gotcha.
What's your thoughts really quick on the cloaking?
And cloaking is basically, let's say I speed up my vibrations. Okay. And I had the ability to do that. I'll explain something a little after. But I go ahead and I supercharge, and my vibrations speed up. Okay. And when I do that, I'm going to blend in to a different frequency. and you disappear. I think that's how they do it. But if you're vibrating at a certain level, okay, and you're really, really going and vibrating, and then I walk next to you and you're a lower vibration, Rob and Krista, I believe, this is my own opinion, I'm going to see you standing still. Think about it. I mean, it's a Star Trek thing, but when you think about it, it's true. Now, we went like exploring one day around here. I did see I think I saw another dimension. I was coming, and my son-in-law and my wife, Robin, were on the other side, and I was sitting in the car, and I saw it was probably a dimensional thing open. I saw Bigfoot crawling, little baby Bigfoot crawling in the trees.
Wow.
That same day, and I'm going to explain the speed thing. Coming down the road, and then I see this thing cross the road, and this thing was so fast, it was a blur. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I told him, I said, what the heck was that? And it crossed the road. You can see where it went up. Kind of the dirt was disturbed. It was a little hill. He went up on the hill. But that goes to show you, I think, basically, when he passed us, we were like almost standing still.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Star Trek. I got to tell you something. It's been a great show. And, you know, I mean, a lot of the stuff is Star Trek, right? I mean, some of the encounter stories we come across from researchers and from people that just, like myself, that just came across. You probably heard my story, right? I seen a humanoid-looking Bigfoot turn into what I describe as a demon, and I've talked to many people where, again, they've taken pictures, and in the photograph there's nothing, and that has to do with, probably, one last question for you, your thoughts. You know how you got the blob squatch, and you take a picture of something and you can't find it. It's probably due to their energy, right? Because you're talking about energy and vibration and frequency. I'm guessing the majority of these videos and pictures that aren't clear is because of their effect that they're imposing in the environment, because they know what you mentioned the word intent. They know your intent is to take a picture. Or right. So if they don't want to have a clear picture, they're purposely doing that. And we hear all the stories about your camera's 100% battery charged, or your video, or your phone, and then you're a half hour in the woods and you suspect there might be something around. Then all of a sudden, your camera runs out of battery.
To explain something, I meant after I explained the vibration thing, but I meant to kind of state something. I woke up one morning and my entire body was vibrating. It's just the weirdest feeling. I didn't panic, because with this stuff, you just can't do it because it's so weird. You got to try to understand it. So I woke up. I've got one other story after that, but your whole body is vibrating. And I wake up and it subsided. But that is, I think, what they do. And I've talked about dream state. And, you know, they speed up your own vibrations of your own body. And you're just like vibrating at a certain level. Now, I wasn't going to explain what goes on in dream state. Okay, so I'm asleep, and I wake up. It's 5 o'clock. I saw the clock, and then they must have knocked me out or something real quick. But I think one of them let me know what was going on.
Oh, I think he froze again.
Yeah. You know, Krista,
It's been a good show.
It's been a great show.
Mhm.
Did you hear that?
No, actually, you did. Actually, you did freeze up for about a good 5 seconds, so we missed it.
Okay, so I'm asleep,
Okay.
and then I wake up. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and somehow I know my body's I'm being carried.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm in bed, and they put my body on top of my body in bed. They come down, somebody kisses me in the cheek, and then the minute it happens, I always take a breath, deep breath. You're back in your body. So basically, your soul or essence was taken out, and then your body still in the bed. You see what I'm saying? So your soul is inside your container, your body. A lot of people, they have questions as well. Hey, do you believe your soul's inside your body? Well, of course it is. Where else is it? But the vibrational thing with me vibrating stuff, they basically will pick your energy up, or maybe I'm doing it myself. I don't know. I mean, I believe that there is an absolute other world in the dream state. It's another dimension. I've got a whole nother other life in that dimension, and I can't remember anything. Is that great?
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
really.
Well, it's great, but it's not great because you want to
Yeah,
know.
you just don't remember anything. So,
hey, Patrick, it's been a pleasure. We got to cut it loose. We're come up on our
Okay.
time allotment, but I got to tell you, I want to have you back because I know if I let it, we could go on for another 2 hours.
Oh yeah, I've got much more. So,
but man, this is a fantastic show. I'm definitely going to have you back. And in fact, tell Robin that I'll be contacting her because I haven't had her on since last Christmas.
okay.
So let her know I'll be giving her a call because
She
always
says you're the best.
Yes,
That's what she
she's
told
the
me.
best. Well, thank you, Robin. I love you. You're the best too. I think everybody would like to see Robin back on. I'm going to have to call her in a couple weeks or a few days and get her scheduled. So, is there any somebody in chat asked Patrick? I don't think you do, but are you on any social media or YouTube or anything like that? Or are you just kind of?
I don't have a YouTube channel. If you want to get a hold of me, it's Patrick Joseph Mccray on Facebook, and there I am. And I've got a group on Facebook. I have maybe about 100 people on there, but that's my group. I think, Rob, aren't you in the group?
I'm in like several hundred groups.
I think so. I think you're in.
I probably am. If not, send me the link.
That's the only other thing I have. I mean, I don't really go on the groups that much.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to David Hollis for a little bit, but I really don't. It's just too many of them,
There are. I have to admit, I'm a member of several hundred, and I probably watch or go on 10 of them.
I don't even think
it's just
I do
because
that.
there's so much time in the day, man. Busy, you got things going on, and I appreciate all the groups, and I appreciate everybody in chat. I appreciate everybody's going to listen later and listening on the radio side. I appreciate Chiro and Jero, Rocky ×2, and Anthony from S4 for your super chats. Again, Great way to support the show. I love you for that, and thank you so much. Please share us out and subscribe. Subscribe to the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast.
Anybody has any questions, just private message me on Facebook.
Yes, get a hold of Patrick on Facebook. I'll put the link in the about page of this when I sign off. Again, thanks to everybody. Subscribe to our channels across the board. And with that being said, I have to pull the old find the old sign off button here. Again, Patrick, thank you so much. I'm gonna have you back.
Okay.
Tell Robin hey, and for everybody in chat. Until next time, for Krista and for Patrick, this is BMR. Have a great day.
See
Have
ya.
a good day. Good day. Bye.